In this episode, I want to follow up on our last topic and give you some practical ways to truly set yourself apart from your toughest competition. You've done the hard work of building a set of processes to win new customers. Now it's time to wow their socks off. Ready to position your business as a one-of-a-kind? Let's get into it.
Welcome to Why Business Teams Fail and How to Avoid It, a show helping small business owners build a radically engaged team that can run the business without you so you can remove the stress from owning a business and enjoy the freedom you deserve. Now, here's your host, Rich Allen.
Today you'll learn that unless you nail down what sets your business apart from others, you'll be resigned to simply competing on the basis of price. That your ideal customer will respond to the feelings they get when they do business with you and your team, and that solving your customers' biggest problems is a sure way to build a following that will make you successful. Here's my question for you this week. Why should your ideal customer buy your products and services? Last week, we discussed how the three critical components of the front wheel of your bike, your business, are essential to effectively winning new customers. As a reminder, the three critical components are the hub, the definition of your ideal customer, the spokes, your marketing strategies, and the tire, your unique sales process. The idea I shared was that if you get these three components right, winning new customers becomes easy. But there's one last element that you must get right for your ideal customer to choose your business over your toughest competition. That one last element is your value proposition, or your unique differentiation. It's the specific something that sets your business, your products, services, and support apart from everyone else in your industry. No matter what you call it, it is important that you purposely and intentionally answer this fundamental question. How can I separate myself in a meaningful way from any other competitor in my industry? There are a few ways to get this answer. It just depends on which method you prefer. Let me share with you two different approaches today in hopes that one of these will hit you in a way that resonates on how you think about your business. Let's first start with the value proposition model I learned from Keith Cunningham. If you're not familiar with Keith Cunningham, he's a super smart entrepreneur and business guru based in the Austin, Texas area. I met Keith several years ago when attending a conference in Australia, of all places. Keith was one of the presenters, and he made a claim that he could teach us more in 4 days than we would learn in a 2-year MBA program. And since I had just finished my MBA program, and I lived in the Dallas area, not too far from his office in Austin, I decided to take him up on his offer. I paid a nice $15,000 fee to attend his 4-day workshop and decided to see what I could learn. And let me quickly say, Keith did not disappoint. His 4-day workshop was well worth the investment. I felt like I was drinking from a fire hose the entire 4 days. And while some of what he shared went right past me, one of the major takeaways I got from his workshop was his methodology for defining your value proposition. I'll try to explain it here, although I find it better to share using a whiteboard and flip charts. But here's how he described it. Your value proposition can be described in only one of three forms. They're either based on your brand, your innovation, or your customer experience. Let's dive a bit deeper into each of these three forms of value proposition. Your unique differentiation, your value proposition, could be your brand. If you have a brand that's so powerful that your brand name itself defines your differentiation. He used the example that Coca-Cola is unique from Pepsi, and a Coke tastes like a Coke no matter where you get it or what form you get it, a bottle, a can, or a soda fountain. The uniqueness of Coke is consistent around the world. Coke is a brand that is their value proposition. If you drink sodas, you either drink Coke or Pepsi, but not often either or both. Your unique differentiation, your value proposition, could be your product or service itself, but only if your product and service is so unique that people buy your product or use your service because of the one-of-a-kind features and benefits they provide. While most companies don't have a one-of-a-kind product, he used the example of Apple computers. Apple is distinctly unique from other computers, and people who buy Apple rarely use other computer products because their products are uniquely Apple. The third form of unique differentiation or value proposition is where most businesses live, and that is the experience someone has when they do business with you. When you don't have a powerfully unique brand and you don't have a one-of-a-kind product, you must define your value proposition in terms of the experience that someone has when they do business with you. That's where my business lands, and that's where likely your business lands. You would probably agree with me on this, but here's the part most of us miss. If your value proposition is based on the experience someone has when they do business with you, then you must be able to define the true value they get based on the feelings someone has when they engage with you, your team, or your business. Now, I'm not sure about you, but when I first heard this, I was scratching my head a bit. I was thinking, is my value proposition really a feeling? But after hearing Keith explain why feelings were so powerful and impactful, I started to think deeply about it. In fact, he gave all of us in the workshop an assignment for when we returned home. Our assignment was to ask 5 to 10 of our best customers this question: what feelings do you have when you do business with me or my company? At first, it was an awkward question to ask. Some customers looked at me as if I'd lost my mind. But when I pressed them for an answer, I did get some truly significant and meaningful insight into how I was making my customers feel when they did business with me. Keith's recommendation was that after we gathered the inputs from our customers, that we identified the top 3 feelings, the ones that were mentioned most often, and begin to build our business processes around those feelings. It was a powerful exercise, and it truly did change how I viewed my business and how I interacted with my prospects and customers. Because I wanted every interaction to generate the 3 specific feelings, I designated my website, my phone answering scripts, my in-person meetings, and my follow-up conversations to make sure that no matter what, these feelings were the main focus of my actions and engagements. So here are the big questions for you to think about. What are the feelings that you want your customers to have when they do business with you or your team? Is your business designed and structured in such a way that no matter how or when your customer engages with you or your team, they come away with these very same feelings every time? What would you have to change for these feelings to become your unique differentiator? And if they did have these feelings every time they did business with you, would they do business with you more often, or tell more friends about your business, or write better Google reviews about your business? If you're not sure what those feelings are, perhaps you should take the time to ask your current customers and begin the journey to define your business based on the feelings you give your customers whenever they do business with you. Now, if this makes sense to you, then I'd suggest you use this approach to define your unique differentiation, your value proposition. If you'd rather not go through the process of asking your current customers, you may want to try this alternative approach. Take a few minutes to write down the 4 or 5 biggest problems or frustrations your ideal customer has today. Focus on the problems or frustrations they have with using products in your industry or getting service from your competitors. Be specific and write them out as specific problems or frustrations. I don't want you to solve them yet. This isn't about you or your products or your services. This is about your customers and those prospects who might be your ideal customers. Too often we focus our attention on what we do or how we show up without first getting crystal clear on the problem or frustration that we need to solve in the marketplace. Once you have the 4 or 5 unique, clearly defined problems or frustrations, write a single sentence that defines exactly what your product, or your service does to fix that specific problem. Don't be general. Don't be vague. If you fix it, how do you fix it? What's the exact approach you use to make that problem or frustration go away? Do this for each of the 4 or 5 problems or frustrations. Each single statement should reflect how your business addresses that problem or frustration. It should be uniquely different from how others would address the problem. If you find that your fix is no different than your competitor's approach to the problem or frustration, then ask yourself, what could we do differently or better to set yourself apart from everyone else? You may not be very unique in 1 or 2 of the problem areas, but when you bundle the 4 or 5 problems together and you have a solution to each and every one of them, now you have some real uniqueness. I went through this exercise recently with a client who's in an industry that arguably has little differentiation. The products are pretty much similar and the processes they follow are similar to every competitor's process. But after an hour of discussing and debating their customers' biggest problems and frustrations, then creating a single statement of how we solve those specific problems and frustrations, we came away from the meeting with a very powerful set of specific things that they did that were very different from any of their competitors. And as we looked at how they solved the big 5 problems and frustrations of their customers, we identified a way to brand our solution to make them even more unique and differentiated. It became the basis for truly setting them apart from their toughest competition. So how about you? Do you have a clear definition of the 4 or 5 problems or frustrations your customers have today? Have you crafted a single, concise statement to show how you solve their big 5 problems or frustrations? Are you communicating your solutions on your website, in your presentations, and as part of your proposals or quotes? Perhaps this is an approach that will work for you and your business. Either way you choose to go, by following Keith Cunningham's value proposition methodology or defining specific problems and frustrations you're solving for your customers, you can and should create a method, an approach, a discipline, or a commitment to create powerful feelings and solve your customers' biggest challenges. Do this, and your competition will be left wondering where all their customers went, and you'll be smiling as you greet them, deliver the feelings they love, and solve their biggest problems. As we wrap up today's podcast, let me leave you with these simple thoughts. Number 1, once you have a firm handle on who your customer is, you then must focus on how you're going to make them feel special and solve their biggest problems. Number 2, if you're struggling with the feelings your customers have when they do business with you, ask them directly. And number 3, don't quit working on your value proposition until you have, without a doubt, the best solution of any competitor in your industry. If you'd like some additional support in this area or want to tap into our free resources, simply go to my website, tourtoprofit.com. You'll find everything you need there. Thanks for joining me today. Be sure to tune in next week when we're going to discuss how to supercharge your customer engagement. You won't want to miss it. Now, go make it a great week, and whatever you do, ride hard.
Thank you for listening to Why Business Teams Fail and How to Avoid It. Make sure to like, subscribe, and tell your friends so you don't ever miss an episode. Now go make it a great week, and whatever you do, ride hard.